Reason 2. Jungkook's global marketability is larger than HYBE's current framework. US corporations are fundamentally motivated by global market opportunities. When examining Jungkook's career and influence, they see a figure who can potentially redefine how international artists are marketed. While HYBE has undeniably positioned Jungkook on the world stage, American companies believe that the agency's strategies, largely rooted in K-pop's group-centered system, limit the scale of what Jungkook can achieve as an independent figure. In the American entertainment industry, the focus often lies on individual star branding rather than collective identity. Icons such as Beyoncé, Justin Timberlake, and Harry Styles are notable examples of artists who began within groups but achieved much greater commercial dominance after establishing themselves independently. For US companies, Jungkook fits this exact mold. A charismatic performer who has already built an international fan base, yet still operates primarily under the umbrella of BTS and HYBE. They see Jungkook as capable of building a solo empire, complete with endorsements, media appearances, and personal creative ventures. The obstacle, in their view, is that HYBE's system continues to prioritize BTS as a collective, which, although commercially successful, dilutes Jungkook's ability to maximize his individual brand in global markets. While HYBE is now a global entertainment company with subsidiaries in the US, it does not yet operate at the scale of US giants like Universal Music Group, Warner Brothers, or Disney. Jungkook's influence, however, already rivals that of top-tier American stars. His solo releases have topped international charts. His live streams reach millions in real time, and his collaborations with Western producers have demonstrated crossover potential. US companies view this disparity as a structural mismatch. Jungkook's brand power is already bigger than the infrastructure designed to manage him. They believe that once freed from HYBE's career-first approach, Jungkook could fully dominate Western entertainment markets, particularly in the US, where individual star power translates directly into revenue streams across music, film, fashion, and digital platforms. To support their case, US corporations often point to artists who broke away from their initial management structures to achieve greater success. For example, Zayn Malik, who left One Direction, was able to carve out a distinct solo identity that catered to different audiences. Harry Styles leveraged independence not only to launch a successful solo career, but also to expand into acting and fashion markets. Jungkook is already connected to through Calvin Klein. Justin Timberlake transitioned from NSYNC into one of the most enduring solo pop acts of his generation, largely by embracing US-driven promotional models. For Jungkook, US corporations envision a similar trajectory, one where his solo career is not an extension of BTS, but a self-sustaining global enterprise. HYBE's system is largely designed to manage multiple acts within a K-pop framework, where collective identity, synchronized promotions, and centralized control dominate. While efficient for group activities, this model can conflict with the US approach, which emphasizes individual freedom, personal branding, and diversified revenue streams. For instance, HYBE controls many aspects of artist branding, from scheduling to promotional strategies. In contrast, US companies prefer to expand an artist's image across multiple platforms simultaneously: social media, endorsements, acting projects, and streaming exclusives. This difference in philosophy creates friction for US companies aiming to maximize Jungkook's reach. One of the most significant points US corporations emphasize is Jungkook's extraordinary potential in fashion and branding. His collaboration with Calvin Klein already showed that he can dominate conversations globally without relying on music releases. For American fashion and lifestyle companies, Jungkook represents a rare opportunity to build a long-term global icon, similar to how Michael Jordan's partnership with Nike transformed into the billion-dollar Jordan brand. However, as long as Jungkook is bound by HYBE's system, his brand activities remain secondary to music promotions rather than existing as a standalone empire. U.S. corporations argue that a direct partnership with them would allow Jungkook to establish himself as a lifestyle brand, one that transcends music and becomes embedded in consumer culture worldwide. Another area where US companies see untapped potential is streaming and media. Jungkook's solo songs dominate Spotify charts and YouTube trends, but HYBE's strategies for promoting his music often prioritize BTS as a unit. US companies believe that with exclusive partnerships with platforms like Netflix, Apple Music, or Amazon Prime, Jungkook could anchor international media campaigns, documentaries, and exclusive releases, much like Taylor Swift or Beyoncé. The possibility of a Jungkook-led documentary or performance film distributed globally through a US platform is highly attractive to these corporations. Such projects could merge music, fashion, and personal storytelling in ways that HYBE's group-centered strategies may not prioritize. Ultimately, US corporations frame their reasoning around the idea of scale and independence. Jungkook has already proven his dominance within K-pop and as a member of BTS. To these companies, the next logical step is for him to function as a standalone international star comparable to the biggest names in American entertainment. While HYBE has given him structure, US corporations believe that the agency now functions more as a limitation than an enabler. In their view, Jungkook's global marketability is already outgrowing the K-pop framework, and only by leaving HYBE can he fully realize his global potential. Reason 1. US corporations see Jungkook as the key to redefining global pop beyond K-pop. While the first reason US companies want Jungkook independent from HYBE lies in his unmatched marketability, the second reason is far more strategic. These corporations believe Jungkook has the potential to reshape the global music industry itself. For them, Jungkook is not merely another celebrity to endorse or a pop star to promote. He represents a cultural bridge, a figure capable of leading the evolution of pop into a truly borderless form that transcends traditional categories such as K-pop or Western pop. From this perspective, US corporations are not only interested in Jungkook's fame, but also in his capacity to function as a symbol of global entertainment unification. They believe HYBE, with its strong grounding in the Korean system, might unintentionally restrict this transformation by keeping Jungkook too closely tied to the K-pop label. For American companies, the goal is to position Jungkook as the face of a new global pop movement, one that is driven by US industry models but reaches far beyond them. K-pop as an industry has become an international phenomenon. However, US corporations are increasingly aware that labeling artists strictly within K-pop can create barriers to broader cultural assimilation. While the genre has achieved global reach, it is still often viewed as a cultural export from South Korea, rather than as a universal form of pop. Jungkook's music, particularly his solo releases, has demonstrated a sound that easily blends with Western pop, R&B, and EDM for US companies. This makes him an ideal candidate to step outside the K-pop identity. They believe that HYBE, due to its business model, continues to rely on the global branding of K-pop as a genre, which indirectly limits Jungkook's positioning. By moving beyond HYBE, Jungkook could rebrand himself not as a K-pop star, but as a global pop artist, on the same footing as American counterparts like The Weeknd, Billie Eilish, or Bruno Mars. In the US, the most successful global artists are those who integrate seamlessly into mainstream American cultural output, while still maintaining unique personal identities. US corporations view Jungkook as someone who could lead this model at an unprecedented level. For instance, if Jungkook were managed directly under US entertainment conglomerates, he could collaborate with leading American producers on a permanent basis, shaping his sound to fit both Western and global tastes. Secure long-term residencies or headline shows in major entertainment hubs like Las Vegas, following the models of Adele or Lady Gaga. Expand into acting roles within Hollywood films or streaming series, allowing him to diversify his identity beyond music. These strategies require a degree of independence that HYBE's career-first system may not prioritize. Thus, US corporations advocate for Jungkook to detach from HYBE and fully immerse himself in a US-driven entertainment infrastructure. One of the strongest arguments US companies make is based on data analytics. Jungkook's solo releases have consistently topped Billboard charts, Spotify global charts, and YouTube view counts, often rivaling or surpassing American superstars. From their perspective, the data already proves that Jungkook is functioning at the level of a global pop icon, not a regional star. However, they also note that these achievements often occur in spite of limitations in distribution and promotion caused by the HYBE structure. US corporations believe that if Jungkook's career were fully aligned with American promotional models, complete with aggressive streaming deals, radio strategies, and brand tie-ins, his numbers could be even higher. In short, they see Jungkook as underperforming relative to his true potential, not because of a lack of talent or fan base, but because of managerial strategy. The concept of global pop is increasingly important to US corporations. They are no longer satisfied with dominating domestic markets. The future lies in cross-cultural icons who can perform equally well in Seoul, Los Angeles, London, and Sao Paulo. Jungkook embodies this model more than most existing stars. His fan base is highly international, cutting across linguistic, cultural, and demographic barriers. His ability to communicate through performance, visual imagery, and universal musical styles makes him a cultural neutralizer, a figure who can appeal globally without being confined to any one cultural narrative. To US corporations, this positions Jungkook as a perfect ambassador of global pop, a concept they are eager to control, market, and institutionalize. Another dimension of this transformation is fashion. US corporations recognize that Jungkook's Calvin Klein campaigns have already shown his ability to function as a global fashion figure. His image consistently dominates social media during brand campaigns, often eclipsing even Western celebrities. For US lifestyle and luxury companies, Jungkook could anchor an entire global lifestyle movement, combining music, fashion, and branding into a single integrated model. This is where they see the most potential for expansion beyond HYBE. Rather than limiting Jungkook's fashion activities to side projects, they envision him becoming a central figure in global fashion marketing, akin to Rihanna's evolution into a music and fashion mogul through Fenty. The rise of streaming platforms like Netflix, Disney Yaoon, and Amazon Prime has reshaped the entertainment landscape. US corporations believe Jungkook could become a streaming-era superstar, not only through music but through original content. Imagine Jungkook headlining a Netflix original concert documentary marketed worldwide, a film role in a major Hollywood release, introducing him to audiences beyond music, a lifestyle reality series combining his artistry with global travel and brand partnerships. These opportunities require direct partnerships with American entertainment giants, something that could be harder to achieve under HYBE's Korea-based system. By stepping out independently, Jungkook could become one of the first non-American artists to dominate both global streaming music and visual entertainment simultaneously. At its core, the US corporate push for Jungkook's independence is built on a business case. They argue that Jungkook is already functioning at the level of a global superstar. His potential is being capped by the limitations of the K-pop framework. US corporations can scale his career beyond those limits, creating not just a music star, but a global cultural icon. This argument is not rooted in artistic criticism of HYBE, but in structural analysis. HYBE is effective at managing K-pop groups and expanding Korean cultural exports, but its systems may not be optimized for building a standalone global pop empire. For US corporations, Jungkook represents a unique chance to prove that global pop is not bound by origin and that a non-American artist can lead the industry on American terms. Finally, US corporations see Jungkook's independence not only as a commercial opportunity, but also as a strategic cultural move. In an era where cultural exports are tied to national influence, controlling Jungkook's career trajectory could symbolically position the US as the driver of the next era of global entertainment. From this viewpoint, Jungkook is more than an artist. He is a strategic asset in the competition between cultural powers. The US wants him not just as a star under HYBE's management, but as a global icon shaped within American corporate systems.